Hey everyone, and welcome back. This explainer is brought to you by Forge College. If you hung out with us for our last lesson, you know we covered the high-level integration patterns for ERC-4337 and smart wallets. Well, today we're getting our hands dirty. We are designing the actual smart wallet interfaces for those ERC-4337 flows. This is literally where human intent finally collides with the blockchain. Real quick, here is our agenda for today. We've got 1. Translating intent to blueprint. 2. Meet the adapter layer. 3. Mapping actions to payloads. 4. The signature placeholder. And finally, 5. Building your scaffold. Let's just jump right in. Section 1. Translating intent to blueprint. So check this out. We have a massive, glaring gap between what a user actually wants to do and what the blockchain mathematically demands to hear. It's like two entirely different languages. On the left, human intent. Just send 1 ETH. Super simple, clean, intuitive. But over on the right, the blockchain demands this highly technical user operation payload. We're talking nonces, call gas limits, pre-verification gas, init codes. It's a lot. Expecting an everyday user to manually calculate gas limits just to buy a cup of coffee? No way. That's like asking someone for precise engine torque specs just to turn their steering wheel. Because let's be real, no normal person wakes up and says, yes, 100,000 verification gas, just what I wanted for my birthday. It's ridiculous. We absolutely have to automate this incredibly bureaucratic Web3 paperwork without driving our users completely insane. Section 2. Meet the adapter layer. Enter the hero of our explainer, the adapter layer. This is our invisible draftsman. Basically, the adapter is a translation layer in your smart wallet interface. It takes simple internal wallet actions and maps them into a flawlessly structured ERC-4337 user operation payload. Think of it like this. You input a crude back-of-the-napkin sketch, and this automated drafting machine churns out a beautiful, complex engineering blueprint that the blockchain's entry point can execute perfectly. Now, this adapter has a few absolute core responsibilities. It needs to expose a minimal UI to the user, so just basic stuff like transfer, call, or batch. It formats those payloads automatically, handles all those annoying default gas and nonce values behind the scenes, and, this is huge, it completely separates the mapping logic from the actual cryptography. If you've taken any of the advanced programming courses with us, you know that strictly separating your concerns like this, that's the golden rule of clean architecture. Section 3. Mapping actions to payloads. Let's head over to the assembly line and see exactly how we draft this user operation blueprint. We're going to build a wallet interface file that exposes 3 simple methods, and we need to map them with absolute precision. All right, this table right here, this is your master blueprint. Notice how a simple transfer action maps the to field to the recipient, but leaves the call data completely empty, just 0x. But look at the bottom row for the batch action. That one bundles everything up into a JSON stringified payload and sends it straight to the entry point. This is the exact moment we transform a simple user command into the highly structured data the blockchain is hungry for. Now, here's a crucial little detail. Look at the call method on the right. Even if the value you're sending on a contract call is 0, you must explicitly set it to 0. Don't just leave it undefined. Doing this saves you from dealing with super frustrating payload validation errors later on. You have to be incredibly deliberate with every single line of this blueprint. And speaking of being deliberate, please listen to this quote. A frequent mistake is encoding batch data as a raw object instead of a stable string. Always JSON.stringify your batch payloads. Seriously, guys, don't let a raw JavaScript object ruin your gorgeous blueprint. Determinism is literally everything here. If it's not predictable, it's just not going to work. Section 4. The signature placeholder. Okay, let's look at a clever little hack we use to keep our drafting process super clean before we introduce the heavy-duty cryptography. It's called the signature placeholder. This is just a temporary, descriptive dictionary inside the payload that records the intended signature policy, but, and this is key, it doesn't actually execute any cryptographic signing yet. It's basically like slapping a sign here later sticky note on a contract, rather than forcing your boss to sign it while you're still writing the terms. By tagging the payload with these placeholder flags, you're setting the stage. So you might set the sig type to owner for a local wallet, or delegated for session keys, or bundle for a paymaster flow. Our downstream smart contracts will know exactly who needs to sign what, and we don't have to write a single line of crypto logic today. We're just prepping the canvas. Section 5. Building your scaffold. All right, time to put on our hard hats. Let's actually build the scaffold script to test this mapping logic locally. It's 3 easy steps. First, create your minimal adapter in a file called wallet-interface.js with your transfer, call, and batch methods. Second, create build-userop.js with a map action to userop helper function to fill in default gas fields. Finally, you execute the script with Node to output your JSON blueprints. When you run that script locally, you're looking for a few vital things to validate. Are all the required keys there, like sender, to, call data, and value? Does the signature placeholder reflect the correct SIG type? Are your batch payloads properly serialized? If everything is green, you should see 3 beautifully labeled JSON payloads print directly to your console. That is your checkpoint. You've successfully drafted the blueprint. Oh, and one more thing, document your design decisions. Add inline comments justifying exactly why you chose a specific default gas limit. This scaffold is deliberately conservative. It acts as a rock-solid contract for your future UI. Your future self will absolutely thank you for writing down the why instead of leaving yourself guessing 6 months from now. Section 6, Key Takeaways and Next Steps. Let's wrap up this explainer by drilling down into the 3 core principles you really need to take away today. 1. Keep that wallet interface minimal and completely intent-focused. 2. Treat serialization and call data as authoritative. Remember our golden rule about JSON stringify. And 3. Always separate the payload mapping from the cryptographic signing. Stick to these and you'll build an airtight adapter that seamlessly connects a human user to the blockchain. Now, before we go, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. When we convert these placeholders into actual on-chain hooks in our next explainer, which signature policy are you going to implement first? Think about it. Are you going to tackle local owners, session keys, or maybe delegated paymasters? The foundation is fully laid. Now you get to decide how to build the house. And that wraps up our blueprinting for today. This explainer was made by Forge College, and I highly encourage you to head over to our website at forge.college to learn more about this exact subject, dive into other awesome Web3 topics, and truly master the art of smart wallet integration. Thanks for hanging out and learning with me today. Keep exploring account abstraction, and I'll catch you next time.